out on the internet. There's no stopping it now. Everything we say will be immortalized forever on the internet now. Hi, everybody. I'm Blake Morse over here in this tiny little corner, your regular Week in Geek host. Joining me today is my lovely hetero life mate, Bobby Venomous.
What's up, guys?
And this whole show is essentially dedicated to the man in the much larger window above us, Mr. Cory Jones. How you doing, Cory?
Great. Thanks for having me on. I'm very excited to talk about Hex.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you for coming on. For those of you who don't know who Cory is, Cory, you're the chief creative designer at Cryptozoic. Did I get that right?
I'm the president and CCO. So, yeah, I'm the president, but I'm also in charge of all the creative stuff.
All right. Is that tough, being president? Is it a rough life?
Yeah, it's it's interesting. We're a small company, and so it's interesting. Definitely, having gone from someone who's been in the entertainment industry for almost 20 years, working at lots of different game companies. Like I started off at Virgin Interactive, 20 years ago, working on stuff like I was in charge of all the marketing and promotional stuff for, like, I even named like Thrill Kill, for instance, that old 4-person fighting game.
You worked on Thrill Kill?
I named it. Like
what?
I was, yeah.
Get out of town.
Yeah.
It's pretty much that
so
you lost
starting off like
your game virginity at Virgin.
Yes, on Thrill Kill. That and working on a game with a guy named Dave Bradley, who was one of the wizardry guys called Swords and Sorcery that also never came out. So, I was there when they got bought by Electronic Arts, but that's where I started. And having been in the games industry for a very long time, Midway and Blizzard and working at Upper Deck, it's one thing to be someone who works at a big company. It's quite another to be one of the owners. I'm one of 4 people who own and run Cryptozoic. Sort of being on your own and being a small business, it's a scary thing, being responsible for the livelihood of, we got 30-something, almost 40 people here, and we take it real serious. Like, we want to make great products and we want to be successful, and we take the livelihood of the people that work for us very, very seriously. So it's definitely a different kind of pressure, a different kind of responsibility. It gives you a really unique perspective, having been an employee going to being someone who is the employer. It's weird.
Nice. Now for those people that aren't familiar with Cryptozoic and what you guys do, why don't you give us the quick little elevator pitch of what you guys are?
Sure. So Cryptozoic Entertainment has been around just over 3 years now. I'll start off. Our motto is fans first, and for us that means that our fans come first and foremost. That's sort of the mantra of everything we do. So when it comes to stuff like product quality or how we're going to support the games or what we're going to do to build community and help out the people who are into our stuff, our fans come first. And then secondarily, it also means fans first in the sense that we are fans first and foremost of the stuff that we do. So one of the things that we talked about when we first started Cryptozoic was the idea that it's not just about, because we do a lot of licensed stuff. We've become kind of the good home for licensed board games like, Walking Dead and DC Comics and Hobbit. But we don't pick up licenses unless someone here is sort of a, passionate fan of it, because we feel like that's the key ingredient to making high quality products. You need somebody to be the evangelist, someone who's really into it. And so, a lot of people who watch this videos of me talking about Hex as an example talk about how passionate I am, and it's real. I mean, it is as a real component to game and even just entertainment development, is that if you have people that are passionate about what they're doing and the creative expression they're engaged in, you'll get a much, much better product. And so that's a big piece of how we make decisions here and how we move forward. Cryptozoic started, our focus was the World of Warcraft trading card game. So the World of Warcraft trading card game actually started at Upper Deck. I actually created the World of Warcraft trading card game and pitched it to Upper Deck, and the concept of it I created. And then, all the brilliant game designers, some of the features I came up with, like, raid decks and loot cards. And Upper Deck eventually said, yeah, come be the head of new product development. And then I went to Blizzard and convinced them they should do the WoW TCG. And so eventually it actually left Upper Deck, and then Cryptozoic was started in part to be the people who manage the World of Warcraft trading card game. And that's been a huge success for us. It's very popular. It's doing very well. People love it. We have a great community. And then also, we wanted to be a full-fledged entertainment company, and so we've been making board games. So like I mentioned before, we do a lot of licensed board games. Like I said, we have everything from Castle to The Hobbit to Big Bang Theory, Walking Dead, and our whole idea was that if you made a high-quality board game based on a license, that you could probably do much better than some of the stuff that's out there now, which seems to be more just about the license and less about making a good game.
No.
And so, and you'll see some of that stuff. And then also we do original board games. So like I created a thing called Epic Spell War, the Battle Wizards.
Dude, I've got it right here. I've got it right
Fun
here.
game.
It's a fun game. We've been playing the crap out of it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Did you read the little story in the beginning in the manual? I was so proud of that little story.
What, Uncle Andy? Did I get it right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
dude.
love Young.
Young, the Voodoo Wizard. I tend to play as the princess.
Princess Holiday.
Yeah, but I do it with an Al Pacino voice.
Nice. Princess Holiday is named after my daughter, who's Holiday Jones.
Nice. Yeah, no. This game, yeah, like we'll get back to Hex in a minute, but Epic Spell Wars of the Battle Wizards Duel at Mount Skullfire is definitely, if you're a nerd and you like board games, this is definitely one to check out. I have seriously forced it upon everyone that comes into my house since you gave it to me.
We should turn it into a drinking game. I mean, it really is fun. I call him Young.
Yeah, it's it. You got to use the wizard voice. I mean, it was supposed to be Rob Heinsoe, the guy who made the mechanics for it, is a genius. Been around for a million years doing board games. He's great. And then the artist I found for it, Nick, I'd actually discovered him when he was 16 on DeviantArt and been talking to him and eventually found a project to put him on. And overall, it has a bit of a cult following. People actually love that game a lot, and we're gonna do an expansion for it. And I actually talked to a group out there about doing an animated series based on it, which is one of the things, like, kind of a passion project for me. Eventually, I'd love to see an Adult Swim style cartoon show made out of that game. Would be so awesome.
Well, it'd be pretty rad, dude. Right. Well, it sounds like you guys have you kind of started with the World of Warcraft collectible card game. That led you to board games, and now you guys are kind of coming full circle back to the video game thing with Hex.
Yeah. So there were two other things I'll just say real quick. We do trading cards. So entertainment trading cards with signatures and bits of costume on them have become a real industry again, partially because of all the work we've done to create great stuff. But then also we do comic books. So I make a comic book called The Lookouts with the Penny Arcade guys. And so that's also, so we're trying to be kind of a full-fledged entertainment company doing lots of different stuff. But yeah, back to Hex. Yes, we are coming back around to video games, and Hex is our baby.
So it's kind of your flagship. So so let's talk a little bit about Hex. Why don't you break down exactly what kind of a game Hex is?
Okay, so and again, I apologize to the people that have heard me say this over and over and over again, but assuming new people are watching this.
Yes.
Hex is an MMOTCG, and so it takes everything that's great about an MMO, so the idea of community and story and progression, and marries it to a trading card game. And everything that's great about a trading card game, stuff like collecting and deep strategy and all the creativity that goes into building a deck and playing a trading card game. Trading card games are a very creative endeavor, and that's one of the things people don't really realize. And it also plays back into that piece of it, into the idea that creativity, for me, is at the backbone of all really good game design. And so when you marry those two things together, MMO and TCG, you get something that is really greater than the sum of its parts, because, as I mentioned in the Kickstarter video, both of those rely on one thing very specific, and that is community. Without community, there is no massive and massively multiplayer, and without a community, you've got no one to play a trading card game with. Sitting there shuffling your trading cards and dealing out 7 cards at a time to see what your first turn was like is something I've done hours on end because I had no one to play with. And so the whole idea is, how do you build a community so that you have someone to play the TCG with, and how do you build a community so that you can all be involved with each other and make that TCG way more robust and way more fun? And that's what Hex is trying to do. It's trying to be the first real MMO TCG.
Nice. So it's like, it's a virtual TCG almost, but you get to actually live in the fantasy world that the game takes place in, sort of.
Correct. And so we have, you'll all the MMO stuff you would expect. You'll be able to make a character, and you have a keep, and then that character will level up, and you'll choose abilities through a skill tree, and that all of those choices then affect how the cards work for you. So when you make a deck, you'll have certain abilities and trigger powers and all this other stuff that gives a completely new dimension to how your TCG deck works. And so this is also something you haven't seen a lot of, and we've gone just really over the top in terms of saying, hey, Hex, the TCG, will never be a physical product. We will never make this into a physical product because we cannot. We have used every ounce, and will continue to use every ounce of digital design space possible to make it a completely new and incredible experience. There are popular trading card games out there with a digital game, but they're shackled to their physical card game because that's how it worked. They made a physical one, it was popular, then they made a digital one. So they're married to that model. We're not. We are going to be digital first. And so if you've watched any of the Twitch streams or any of the stuff that we've done, you'll see there are a lot of mechanics in the game that could only be done digitally, and that's where we get to have a ton of fun making this game.
Nice.